In this episode, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for getting an oar boat unstuck. When you're stuck on a rock, how you can get unstuck. These are things that I think about when I'm stuck, and I just want to share them with you. The first thing I want to do is just move some weight around. People or weight. So by moving yourself and your passengers, that might be enough to get the boat unstuck. Sometimes I'll untie gear and bags and move that around, but usually later. I'll usually do that almost before ropes because untied stuff can fall out and like sink or get lost. Next is just pulling the oars. The oars are these big lever arms. If you pull them one at a time or both of them, you can actually maybe move the boat off. So think about using the oars and pulling the oars to pivot off of something, to rotate off of it. Next is just pulling the raft. Grab a strap somewhere, take your flip line out, attach it to a D-ring, pull on that. Sometimes you can just pull the tube up and it will come undone. The next thing I'll do is I'll actually maybe get out of the boat and I'll get into the water, which is added danger. There's a lot of things that can go wrong here, so you want to be thoughtful about this. You could go for a swim, you could have a foot entrapment because you're standing in the water, you could get sucked under the raft, or when the raft gets unstuck, it could go over the top of you. So being thoughtful about the things that can happen and being methodical here is key, but nothing beats your shoulder just pushing up against the boat and using your legs to push it up. This is a pretty powerful technique, but recognize that it can be dangerous. Another great thing to do is deflate tubes. I might do this step one sometimes. If you just let some air out, the boat becomes squishy and it tends to come off the rock. Same thing with the floor. If the rock's under the floor, if you just let some air out of the floor, it might just slide over and come off. And I do all of these things before we go to ropes. Once you start with ropes, it's a never-ending thing. You don't go back to these things. Once people start to throw ropes out, it goes, let's pull on it, let's do a 3-to-1, let's do this. And so this is added complexity, added danger for everybody involved. And so I would try to do these things first and eventually go to ropes. I just want to share some general tips with you about things that I think about when I'm stuck. I want to take my time. When it first happens, take a deep breath, look around. I know a lot of times I feel this way. I think that everybody's watching me and I'm super embarrassed and I want to get it off as fast as I can so that I minimize my embarrassment, but sometimes that causes problems and I might skip steps or move too fast. So just take your time, do it methodologically. I think that's a word. The next is have good shoes. Wear good shoes when you're boating. If you get stuck, you may have to jump out on slippery rock. You may have to run around the boat. You may have to get in the water. And having good shoes on is key. If you're in flip-flops, it's just not adequate for getting unstuck. Next is just look upstream sometimes. There is other boat traffic. There are other boats coming sometimes. Maybe they didn't stop in time. And if somebody runs into you accidentally, that could make it worse. It could be a hazard. So just peek upstream sometimes. And just, this is obvious, but just safety first. Nobody's hurt yet. The boat's stuck. There's a lot of ways people can get hurt by swimming, walking in the water, going really fast. So just focus on safety. This goes with take your time. These things kind of go together. Just realize nobody's hurt yet. All we're going to do here is get the boat unstuck, and eventually we just got to take our time and focus on safety. It's also important we secure the oars. The oars are these big, dangerous, floppy things, and bring them into the boat when you're not using them. If you pull on them, great, but pull them back in. Because if you get unstuck and your oar hits a rock, it could hurt somebody, it could break, it could come out of its locks. You want your oars in the boat and not just like flapping around. And then finally, just think about after. Once the boat comes unstuck, what's going to happen next? If I'm in the water and I push it off, I'm in the water with no boat. Or if I come off, where am I going to go next? Am I going to go into a worse place? Or how's the boat going to be rowed? Am I going to be able to jump up in time to row it? Or do I need to have somebody in the oars ready to go while somebody's pushing and pulling? So just think about after. So these are my general thoughts, my general things. I'm going to share some video with you about me getting stuck and things that went through my head while I was stuck. Here we are at the Chutes Rapid on the Middle Fork of the Salmon, and this is just a classic place to get stuck. There's this rock right here. I got stuck on it. It didn't seem that bad at first, but as you'll see, it gets a little bit nasty. And the first thing I'm going to do is just sit there, take my time. You notice I pull my oars in because I want to be careful that one doesn't catch water and hit me or fall out. And I'm just going to sort of feel it out. Like if I pull on one oar or the other, what's it going to do? Am I really stuck, or just will a couple of strokes here get me off? And you'll notice it's not really budging. It's sort of frustrating to me. You can see the oar actually, if you look carefully, is bending. I remember it bending. And so there's a lot of force on it. And actually, this oar could be making it worse. This pull I'm doing right now could be making it a little bit worse. But again, the key here is just take your time. I know there's boats upstream. I know I need to get this thing off. but I don't want to do anything kind of crazy. And so I'm just methodologically going through it. And again, these oars do work really well. You know, you can see it's moving the boat. And I'm trying to spin it off somehow. If I can get it to keep spinning one direction, it could come off. And you'll start feeling, if you use two hands on an oar, sometimes oars will start to bend. You'll notice like you could potentially break one, especially if it already kind of has a crack in it doing this. And so, you know, there's a sort of a limit to how much you can pull, but you can see there's a lot of force there, and it actually is moving the boat. So after pulling on the oars, I'm in a little bit better position. Before, the boat was a bit upstream of the rock. Now I'm like a little bit downstream of the rock. But it's right under that tube right there. I need to do something to get it off of that tube. It's basically stuck under the tube. One thing I could do here is deflate some air out of the boat. I didn't do that, but it's something that I could have done to help with this a little bit. I realized I just need to get out and push. And this isn't my favorite thing to do. This is a long swim. This is pretty good current. I could have a foot entrapment. So I'm being very thoughtful about foot placement. You can see I'm taking my time. I'm kind of testing the waters, so to speak. I wasn't too happy with it, so I jumped back up. But I do probably need to get out, and I need really good, stable footing, and I need to be really careful. And again, I don't want to go under the boat. If I make a mistake and go under the boat, that can be dangerous. And so I'm really taking my time here. But in my opinion, in my experience, getting out and just pushing like this and kind of putting your back into it, a lot of times is the best thing you can do. Again, I just want to reiterate, this is dangerous. Like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, so you want to go really slow. Definitely want to look upstream sometimes to make sure there's no boat coming down that will slam into me while I'm in the water. And being very thoughtful about foot placement, because a foot entrapment is a very huge reality here. And this, again, is why having good shoes on is important. I don't even wear sandals anymore. I like to have really good shoes because I may need to walk like in the river bed to push and pull on the boat. So by doing that, I felt the boat move a little bit. I'm like, I got it moved. I got the right amount of movement. I'm trying now just to push and pull on the boat. What can I do a little bit more out of the water? Another thing I could have done here was take my flip line out and attach it to an upstream D-ring and pull on that too. That's another option. But now I'm just moving some weight around. I think actually right there I am deflating the tube maybe. Yeah, I can't tell for sure, but letting a little bit of air out here certainly would help. And I'm just doing things in small increments. I'm just trying little things. Push on the boat, pull on the boat, use the oars again. Just kind of go back and forth between the techniques and just inch this off little by little. Again, putting the oar back when I'm done. I don't want the oar just flapping around. And after trying a few things, the boat moved a little bit. Going back to, again, a technique I have a lot of experience with. I really like understanding the danger. Just get out there and just put your back into it and push it. And you can see by pushing up, it comes up and over the rock a little bit. And I think I know at this point it's about to come off. I don't want it to come all the way off right now because I'm in the water. And there's moves to make downstream. So I want to get it to where it's almost ready. Oh, here we go. This feels like it's getting close. I don't want it to just come off and float without me sitting on my cooler ready to row. So I think here, I feel like I moved it enough. I'm getting myself ready to be in the boat, but also know I have to make a few more moves downstream when it comes off. So I use the oars to get it off finally. I'm in the boat. And I want to turn around and sit the right way. And I'm actually not sitting on my normal seat. I'm sitting opposite. But as long as I can make these moves, I'm good. And you can see a boat's coming downstream. That was a sweep boat, so I got it off just in the nick of time because that boat might have come slamming into me. So that's it for this episode on getting an oar boat unstuck. These are my thoughts based on my experience. These are opinions. This is what I think really works. If you have different opinions, different ideas, different techniques, please put those in the comment section below. That's how we all learn. That's how I learn. Maybe there's something I didn't think of that I could have put in here. So please add your comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.